The first thing that strikes you when you look down this South African lineup is how inexperienced it is. Across each of the players who's been picked, there's a combined experience of 210 T20 internationals. Now, to put that in perspective, there's two numbers that put that in perspective. The first is that David Miller has played a third of those. The second is that, assuming India's top three is Shikhar Dhawan, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, there's 219 internationals only between those three. And that tells you what a vast gulf there is in terms of experience between these two sides. Just about 3,100 runs across the side, and India's top two white ball players, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, are well above 4,000 runs between them. So that starkly tells you the gulf between the two sides. Then you start looking at each of the areas in the South African side. You look at the batting. What are the names that first come to mind when you think of South Africa white ball cricket? You think AB de Villiers, Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis, David Miller. Now what's happened there? AB is gone. Hashim Amla is gone. That leaves David Miller. He's on his way down. Faf du Plessis is not playing. There's holes all over in that South African top order. Miller's a good example, actually. I mean, you remember Miller right through 2012, 13, 14, 15. Those were Miller's finest years. That semi-final of the World Cup that you remember for the wrong reason, but Miller had done well in there. He used to be fantastic. He was retained by the Kings 11 at a time when they were retaining nobody at all. I remember one game, 83 needed of 5 overs against Mumbai Indians, and Miller had created a shiver down the MI spine. So you looked at Miller and you said, wow, this guy is a finisher. In his last 4 years, he hasn't played one whole season for the Kings 11. He's been left out very often. His numbers have plummeted, and Miller is not the player he was. And yet, if South Africa have to do well, he has to play a crucial role at that number 4-5 position for them. What that tells you is that there's two players of quality up there who've got to play a big part in this limited overs series, and that's Quinton de Kock and Rassie van der Dussen. Van der Dussen's very inexperienced yet, and therefore all of a sudden Quinton de Kock, who's come off a fantastic year for Mumbai Indians in the IPL, is the person around whom that batting side will revolve. South Africa has always been well stocked with all-rounders, and they've got Pretorius, they've got Peklokwayo. I'm not sure either of those is a 4-over bowler day in, day out, but between them they'll do the job, and there's enough batting there between the two. And Linde was quite impressive in a couple of games when he came out to play for South Africa A. I'm just a little surprised that Heinrich Klaasen is not in this side. They've picked him for the test side, but I think he's a very destructive player, sort of in that middle order in T20 cricket as well. Then the bowling. Traditionally very well stocked South Africa, and I'm delighted to see that Kagiso Rabada is back. Quite surprised, it certainly surprised me when I looked at the numbers. He's only played 4 T20 games since that World T20 in 2016. Generally, South Africa don't play their lead players in T20 internationals for some reason. Maybe the thinking is, yeah, they play their leagues all around the world. Just let's put overs fit. If you want to rest somebody, let's rest them from T20 internationals. And they've used more players than anybody else in the last couple of years in T20 internationals. But Rabada is, as the Delhi Capitals discovered in the IPL, just a quality player. But who are the players around whom Rabada has to bowl? There's the hugely impressive Anrich Nortje. I was talking to some people in KKR, and they were just waiting for him to come on, and he was part of that one game that South Africa A won against India A. There was a collapse, went from a winning position, India A lost, and at the core of it was Nortje. He's pacey, he's been talked about a lot, and hopefully he'll make up for the absence of Lungi Ngidi. Buren Hendricks has been around for a long time, and they're going to really discover what life is without Imran Tahir. He was such an inspirational figure for South Africa, provided them with wrist spin, and this will be the test for Tabraiz Shamsi. All along, Shamsi has only had to play in the shadow of Tahir, and that's quite an easy role actually. The moment you take the oak out, then the people sitting in the shadows have now got to stand up and be countered. That's what the exit of Imran Tahir has done, and I'll be waiting to see how Tabraiz Shamsi goes. But it's the batting that will be the problem. You look at the two players who have walked into this side, and that tells you what the issue with South African cricket is. Riley Russo, Colin Ingram would have walked into this side. Neither is available. They've gone back to Reza Hendricks, who's 29, 30 years old, which it tells you that they don't have some younger players around. I would have loved to see Adam Markram in the side. I don't know again whether it's a policy of resting players for test matches, but with the World T20 year away, I would have liked to see South Africa put forward their best team. You look at the two sides on paper, there's no comparison, but I hope South Africa can deliver a fight, but I'm not so sure they will.